Easter egg media. An Easter egg is an intentional inside joke, a hidden message, or a secret feature of an interactive work, often a computer program, video game, or DVD menu screen. The name is used to evoke the idea of a traditional Easter egg hunt. The term was coined to describe a hidden message in an Atari video game adventure that led Atari to encourage further hidden messages in later games, treating them as Easter eggs for players to find. This image with the bunny buns reveals an Easter egg when the hedgehog is clicked or tapped. Another Easter egg can be found when a mouse pointer is hovered over it. Origin. While not the first use of a hidden message in a work, the origin of the term Easter egg to describe these originated from the 1979 video game adventure for the Atari 2600. The game was programmed by Atari employee Warren Robinette. At the time, Atari would not include programmers' names in the game's credits, fearing that the competitors would attempt to steal away their employees. Robinette, who had some issues with his supervisors over this and other issues at the time, secretly inserted the message created by Warren Robinette, which would only be triggered if the player moved their avatar over a single pixel, the gray dot, in a certain part of the game. Robinette had not told anyone at Atari about this by the time he left the company. Shortly after his departure, the gray dot and his message was discovered by a player who wrote their discovery into Atari. Atari's management initially wanted to reprogram and re-release the game to remove the message, but this was a costly effort. Steve Wright, the director of software development of the Atari Consumer Division at the time, suggested that they keep the message and encourage future games to include such messages, describing these as Easter eggs for consumers to find, and thus coining the term. In video games, Robinette's addition of his name to Adventure 1979 is recognized as the first well-known Easter egg, as well as the origin of the term. However, Robinette's Easter egg is not the first to be implemented. In 2004, an earlier Easter egg was found in Video Whizball, a 1978 game for the Fairchild Channel F system, displaying programmer Bradley Rydell's surname. According to research by Ed Fries, the first known Easter egg in arcade games came from Starship One, programmed by Ron Milner and released in 1977. Although its existence wasn't published until 2017. By triggering the cabinet's controls in the right order, the player could get the message, "Hi, Ron," displayed to them on the screen. Fries described it as the earliest arcade game yet known that clearly meets the definition of an Easter egg, and suggested that as more than 100 arcade games predate Starship One, earlier Easter eggs may still be undiscovered. Fries noted that some Atari arcade cabinets were resold under the Key Games label and included easily implemented changes to the hardware that would make the game appear different for KET. Anti-Aircraft 2, released in 1975, included a means to modify the circuit board to make the airplanes in the game appear as alien UFOs, which Fries surmised would have been for KET game's release, but argued if this is a true Easter egg since it requires hardware modifications. Since Adventure, there has been a long history of video games developed including Easter eggs in their games. Sometimes the intent was to communicate with the player. Sometimes it was a way of getting even with management for a slight. For example, Robinette's first egg was included because he wanted credits for programming the game, which was not customarily included at the time. Easter eggs in video games have taken a variety of forms, from purely ornamental screens like Robinette's, to aesthetic enhancements that change some elements of the game during play, such as the Easter egg included in the original Age of Empires game that changes catapult projectiles from stones to cows. And video game cheat codes, such as the Konami code, are a specific type of Easter egg in which entering a secret command will unlock special powers or new levels for the player. More elaborate Easter eggs include secret levels and developers' rooms, fully functional yet hidden areas of the games. Developer rooms are often include inside jokes from the fandom or development team, and differ from a debug room in that they are specifically intended for the player to find. Some games even include hidden sub-games as Easter eggs. In 1993's acclaimed LucasArts video game, Day of the Tentacle, the original game Maniac Mansion from 1987 can be played in its full version by using a home computer in one of the characters' rooms. In computing, software. In computer software, Easter eggs are a secret response that occur as a result of an undocumented set of commands. These results can vary from a simple printed message or image to a page of program or credits or a small video game hidden inside of an otherwise serious piece of software. In the TOPS 10 operating system for the DEC PDP-10 computer, the make command is used to involve the TECO editor to create a file. If the file name argument If given the file name argument love, so that the command is make love, it will pause and respond, "Not war?" before creating the file. The same behavior occurred on the RSTSC operating system, where TECO will provide this response. Other Unix operating systems respond to why with why not, a reference to the prisoner in Berkeley Unix 1977. Some versions of DEC OpenVMS operating systems have concealed exit status codes, including a reference to Monty Python Dirty Hungarian Phrasebook skit. Exit %XB70 returns the message %system W fish, my hovercraft is full of eels. While exit $X34B4 returns in reference to an early internet meme, %system F game over, all your space are belong to us. Many personal computers have much more elaborate Easter eggs hidden in ROM, including lists of developers' names, political exhortations, snatches of music, or images of the entire development team. Easter eggs in the 1997 version of Microsoft Office include a hidden flight simulator in Microsoft Excel and a pinball game in Microsoft Word. The Debian operating system's package tool apt-get has an Easter egg involving an ASCII cow when variants on apt-get moo are typed onto the shell. An Easter egg is found in all Microsoft operating systems before XP. In the 3D text screensaver, entering the text volcano will display names of all the volcanoes in the United States. Microsoft removed this Easter egg in XP but added others. Microsoft Excel 95 contained a hidden Doom-like action game called Hall of Tortured Souls. Google search engine famously contains many Easter eggs given to the user in response to certain search queries. For example, Google Maps. Google Maps once responded to requests for directions from New York City to Tokyo by telling the user to kayak across the Pacific Ocean. Steve Jobs banned Easter eggs from Apple products upon his return to the company. The first Easter egg to appear after his death was in a 2012 update to the Mac App Store for the OS X line, in which downloaded apps are temporarily time-stamped. January 24th, 1984, the date of the sales launch of the original Macintosh. Hardware. While computer-relating Easter eggs are often found in software, occasionally they exist in hardware or firmware of certain devices. On some home computers, the BIOS ROM contains Easter eggs. Notable examples include some errant 1993 AMI BIOS that on November 13, 1993, proceeded to play Happy Birthday via the PC speakers over and over instead of booting. and several early Apple Macintosh models, which had pictures of the development team in the ROM, accessible by pressing the programmer's switch and jumping to a specific memory address, or other equally obscure means. These Mac Easter eggs were well publicized in the Macintosh press at the time, along with the means to access them, and later serendipitously recovered by NYC Resistor Team, a hacker collective, through elaborate reverse engineering. Similarly, the Radio Shack Color Computer 3 ROM contains code which displays the likeness of 3 Microsoft developers on a Control-Alt-Reset key press sequence, a hard reset which discards any information currently in RAM. Several oscilloscopes? What's that? Contain Easter eggs. Okay, what is that? An oscilloscope, previously called oscillographs and informally known as a scope, CRO, I don't know what that is. I tried. Several oscilloscopes contain Easter eggs. One example is the HP 54600B, known to have a Tetris clone, and even to save high scores, where the HP 54622D contains an implementation of the asteroid game named Rocks. Another is the Tektronix 17558 vector and waveform monitor, which displays swimming fish when remote software version is selected on the config menu. And the second and third hardware revisions of the Minolta Dynax Maxim Alpha 9 SLR camera, including all SSM/8DI upgraded cameras, an undocumented button sequence which is impossible to press by accident, can be utilized to reconfigure the camera to behave like the Dynax Maxim Alpha 9 Ti, and subsequently invoke support for the limited model's extra functions also in the black model. The Commodore Amiga 1000 computer includes the signatures of the design and development team embossed on the inside of the case, including J. Miner and the paw print of his dog Mitchie. The Commodore Amiga Model 500, 600, and 1200 each feature Easter eggs in the form of titles of songs by the B-52s as white printing on the motherboards. The 500 says B-52 Rock Lobster, the 600 says Junebug, and the 1200 says Channel Z. The Amiga OS software contains hidden messages. Many integrated circuit chip designers have included hidden graphic elements in the term chip art, including images, phrases, and developer initials, logos, and so on. This artwork, like the rest of the chip, is produced in each copy by lithography and etching. These are only visible when the chip package is opened and examined under magnification, so they are, in a sense, more of an inside joke than most of the Easter eggs included in software. In 1984, CVAX microchip implementation of the Micro VAX CPU contained in its etchings the Russian phrase in the Cyrillic alphabet VAX, when you care enough to steal the very best, place there. Because knowing some CVAX would end up in the USSR, the team wanted Russians to know that we were thinking of them. American comic book artists are known to include hidden messages, and their art examples include a reprint of classic Captain American comics, a production artist drew up a weenie on Bucky Barnes. In 2000, Al Milgrom inserted a message into Universe X Spidey #1 that insulted his previous boss, Marvel Editor-in-Chief Bob Harras, following Harras' termination from Marvel Comics. On page 28, panel 3, the spines of the book on a bookshelf in the background read, Harras, haha, he's gone, good riddance to bad rubbish, he was a nasty SOB. The message was spotted after the book was printed, but it went on sale, although 4,000 preview copies were distributed to the retailers as part of the first look scheme and are considered rare. The copies that were printed for consumers were destroyed, and Milgrom was apparently fired and allegedly quietly rehired several weeks later. Ethan Von Schreiber had hid the word sex into the background of nearly every page of New X-Men number 118, November 2001. November 2001. Oh, there's no such thing as 2001. Van Schreiber stated that he hid the word throughout the book because he was annoyed with Marvel at the time for the reasons he cannot remember, and he thought it would be fun to engage in some mischief with his work. Indonesian artist Aryan Singap is known to engage in the practice of hiding Easter egg references to political figures in the backgrounds of his work. In Backworld Volume 4, Number 9, July 2012, for example, Sayaf included a storefront sign that referenced the president of Indonesia, Joko Widodo. Although the text accompanies the image of Widodo is covered by a caption. In 2017, he caused a public outcry by placing references to the November 2016 Jakarta protests on the pages of X-Men Gold number 1, which were perceived by the readers to be anti-Semitic and anti-Christian. Though Siaf acknowledged the political nature of the messages, he restated they were not intended to express any anti-Semitic nor anti-Christian sentiment on his part. Okay, sorry about that. That music was driving me crazy. Indonesian artist Adrian Sayaneta, yeah, they weren't the thing, so they terminated the contract. Video. Home media. Easter eggs are found on film, DVDs, and Blu-rays, often as deleted scenes or bonus special features. Klinger states that their presence is another signifier of artistry in the world of DVD supplements. What? According to Bernardelli and Ebert, most DVDs do not contain them. Most examples are inconsequential, but a very few, such as the ones found on the Memento DVD release, are worth the effort to seek out. In the TV series Doctor Who has an episode using Easter eggs as a major part of the plot. The episode in question even has an Easter egg on the chapter selection for that episode on the disc release, showing the full in-episode Easter egg. Broadcast media. Unlike DVDs and computer games, broadcast radio and television programs contain no executable code. Easter eggs may still appear in the content itself, as a hidden Mickey in the Disney film or a real telephone number in a 555 fictitious telephone number. Once 2014 Super Bowl advertisement was leaked online in which a lady gives a man a real telephone number which the advertiser had hidden as a marketing ploy. The first caller to the number received a pair of tickets to the game. The 1980s animated series She-Ra, Princess of Power, included a character, Loki, who was typically hidden in a single screenshot within an episode, marking his only appearance in that episode. After the end of the episode, the screenshot would be shown again, and the character would challenge the viewers to locate him before revealing his hiding place. Security concerns. Security officer Michael E. Kabay discussed security concerns in 2000, saying that the software quality assurance requires that all code be tested, but it's not known if Easter eggs are tested. He said that because they tend to be held as programming secrets from the rest of the testing process. A logic bomb could also bypass testing. Kabay asserts that this undermined the trusted computing base, a paradigm of trustworthy hardware and software in place since the 1980s, and is of concern wherever personal or confidential information is stored, which may then be vulnerable to damage or manipulation. Microsoft created some of the largest and most elaborate Easter eggs, such as those in Microsoft Office. In 2005, Larry Osterman of Microsoft acknowledged Microsoft Easter eggs and his involvement in development of one, but described them as irresponsible, and wrote that the company operating system division has no Easter eggs policy as part of its trustworthy computing initiative. Douglas W. Jones said in 2006, "Some Easter eggs may be intentional tools used to detect illegal copying, while others are clearly examples of unauthorized functionality that has slipped through the quality control tests at the vendor. While hidden Easter eggs themselves are harmless, it may be possible for malware to be hidden in similar ways in voting machines or other computers. Netscape Navigator contributor James Zawinski stated in an interview in 1998 that harmless Easter eggs impose a negligible burden on ship software and serve the important purpose of helping productivity by keeping programmers happy. See, also a bunch of thingamajigs, and here is the things, and let's stamp.